Welcome to SEL in EDU.
where we discuss all things social and emotional in education.
I'm Krista.
I'm Craig, and we are your hosts on this journey.
All right, now, SEL and EDU family, we are back for another conversation. All kinds of wonderful things are happening or not happening because at this point in life, there may be some snow on the ground. It's definitely a lot cooler for most of us where we are. So I'm just kind of curious, how are you cozying up in this conversation today? Are you wearing your fluffy slippers? Are you in your robe? Do you have on a hoodie like I'm wearing? Like, what is the way that you are enjoying today's conversation? So Krista, how are you doing?
I'm good today. I was actually going to put on one of those infinity scarves to kind of bulk up and keep myself warm. But I'm doing well. I'm getting ready to head out on the road for some various conferences and work in some other states. And so, and to attend a wedding in a couple weeks. I wonder who's getting married again, Craig? Crazy.
Somebody in this world
Is getting married. By the time y'all listen to this, Craig is going to be a taken man. Just letting you all know.
Wow. No pressure.
No pressure. Just a little bit of stress leading up to this. What is on your heart today? How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I am overwhelmed with appreciation for all of the love that has come our way. I'm most grateful and in gratitude that my father had a stroke last month. So we're currently in like September. And so this happened back in August, and he's making so much progress, and he's moving and he's talking, and it's something when you see a parent who has had all of this strength and has been such a figure now find themselves needing to be cared for by others. And so I'm just grateful that my pop is still around doing this thing. And then I, get to see him continuing to prosper and grow even through trials. So I have gratitude in my spirit.
That fills my heart, and it makes me sad that we don't record and post the videos anymore, because it would just be awesome for people to see how your face just lit up when you talk about your dad. So I'm looking forward to getting a chance to meeting him perhaps at the wedding. So sending lots of prayers and hugs. That's amazing. I'm glad to hear he's doing well.
Thank you.
On our show today, we have an extra special guest who is amazing with remembering dates. I'm just going to put that out there right away, because I met Ms. Jamillah Parker at a conference in New Jersey. I believe it was 5 years ago, but I'm sure when she comes on, she's going to tell you the exact date that it was. And we just clicked and connected on Boxer and all the things. And we talk and chat and send messages and get together because we have kids the same age. We're both empty nesters right now. And so we're kind of processing that together. But I am so excited to have Jamillah Parker with us. She is the supervisor of early childhood for Pemberton Township Schools in New Jersey. She holds her New Jersey supervisor, principal, and school social worker certificates. She's a rock star. Ms. Parker firmly believes students and adult SEL learning should be the foundation of every school district, and has provided professional development to school employees on this topic. She is a duly licensed social worker in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania. She has spoken at regional and national conferences and is an advisory board member for Living Proof Recovery Center in New Jersey. She is also a proud member of the Black Women Education Leaders Organization, where she serves as co-chair for the Special Events Committee. And just as of last week, she is also the secretary of the Southern Region New Jersey ASCD organization. Jamillah, my friend, thank you so much for your time. We're excited to talk with you.
Thank you. It's so good to be here with you guys on this sort of frosty evening.
It is. So, one of the things that you and I have talked about a lot over the last years that I just think is such an advantage is the different perspectives that you bring to education. You have been working as a social worker for so long, and now you get to take those gifts in as a supervisor. So, you're working with the teachers, you're still getting to work with the parents and the students. And I would love for you to perhaps share some of those strengths as a social worker that you're able to bring in to your role, and helping to support students and teachers and their families.
Absolutely. It's a unique perspective where I'm looking at the whole person, the whole child, the whole family, the whole adult as the teacher or staff member, the whole adult as that individual parent. It's such a unique perspective that I get to bring a piece that many aren't used to an administrator having. So being able to tap into that empathy, tapping into that active and those reflective listening skills. Um, it's to go into classrooms, and while I'm going in to observe based on Danielson, observe certain domains, I'm able to also pick up on. So while there is a lesson being taught, I'm paying attention to how the adults in the room are responding to all of the children, how they are being able to micro to multitask, if you will, uh dealing with the behavior while still focusing on a child and answering a question, or asking, those higher level thinking questions, all really in that span of a 20-minute or 40-minute observation period. And then in these post conferences, particularly with the staff, for them to be able to acknowledge that's never happened before, where someone is able to tap into all of it. So I'm noticing the core values. We have core values in our school. I'm noticing those core values being displayed in the classroom, being practiced in the classroom. I'm excited to see mindfulness activities that are happening, and they're not feeling this pressure that that there's that pressure of like every minute counts, and every minute does count, but mindfulness is in those minutes as well. So and then just the from the family perspective, engaging in some of those meetings where I'm sitting in as on the IRST meetings, and not just sitting back and just being a quiet observer, but I've jumped in a few times and have asked some of the tough questions that maybe some others are like don't feel comfortable and asking. Some questions that may lend to, a disclosure of like a past abuse or things like that. And then just being able to, and nothing shocks me. I've worked even prior to education. I worked for New Jersey's child protection services, and so I've had this knowledge and this experience that nothing at all surprises me. So anything that comes out of a person's mouth of what they disclose, I have it's just I'm able to maintain my facial expression. There's no shock value to it. But I love that I'm able to bring this to an administrative role. And then you asked about, some things of what I'm seeing. End of last school year, I should have really stopped and thought about what I said before I claimed it. And I said, we're getting through this, like this next school year, we should be on the rise from some of the things that happened during COVID, because our school, our program houses 3 scores and any 5-year-old who turns 5 after October 2nd. And so really in September, we have 2-year-olds coming in off of a school bus, on a school bus, and going into a classroom. Our classrooms are multi-age, with children who may be turning 5 on October 2nd. So that spread. And so I was thinking like, oh, most of the kids coming in, they won't have that experience of an unmasked world and a masked world and all of that. Like it's just most of them were born in 2020. So most of the new ones are coming in 2020 and they've not had this prior experience. However, what they did have or didn't have as far as experiences, they didn't have that social, they still didn't have that time to be able to interact socially. Many of them were, it was just a device. And whether it was parents who were working remotely and so they gave them a device to keep quiet while they were working remotely, it still limited some skills. We have students who maybe they were going to get early intervention services, but the only way those services were being offered were remotely. You can't really get those therapies in. Like telehealth is wonderful, but when you're working with children that young, really like in person is the best and most effective way of providing the different therapies. And you had a lot of families that even just declined the services because they were remote. And so because of that, we're seeing children now coming in completely nonverbal, uh, com- completely like they have not, again, had that opportunity to be around other children. And so it's just, it's heartbreaking in a sense. And what I would definitely share, with parents, I read an article last week and it was talking about devices that are actually leading to more developmental delays. The more the young children are on devices, it's leading to, and I see it. I see it every day. And so I would just encourage parents to, while it's an easy, give it to them, start monitoring that screen time. Monitoring that time of it really should not even be more than like 20 minutes a day. And talking to parents, sometimes you ask like, oh, what's the average screen time? And they're like, oh, not more than 2 hours. I'm like, no, that's all they're getting. And they're not learning those social emotional skills through a device. And so I would just encourage parents and families to just make a shift with how much they are relying on those devices with their young children, particularly, 5 and under.
Wow. You gave us so much to think about. And I understand, at least from what I've been reading and a number of the conversations I've had with parents over the course of, last school year, transition into this school year, and even over the summer, that even though it appears like the pandemic has changed and we're post-pandemic, which I still disagree with, still believe we're in it, but that's my opinion. We do know that our young people still have gaps or opportunities in regards to their mental health and their well-being, especially our teenagers who um, still have such high rates of depression, anxiety. Some of our young people are experiencing suicidal ideations. And so we have school leaders across this nation who are working in partnership with community partners and clinicians and whatnot, and trying to figure this out and navigate this very tough terrain. And so by the time people hear this, it'll be January, possibly February of 2024. And so for those who are listening now, whether or not they're parents, whether or not they're school leaders, they're educators, they're clinicians, what would you say you have seen in your experience has actually been incredibly beneficial, that should be amplified across the airwaves on here's some good practices, here's some promising practices, here's some things everybody should be incorporating in their day-to-day in order to continue to strengthen SEL and well-being across the community.
Definitely implementing that deep breathing, mindfulness activities, and becoming routine, that it's not just um, something to calm someone down, but just in like just where it's a daily, you're taking those stretches, you're doing the belly breathing, the star breathing techniques, maybe even some mindfulness like games or activities, just something to I'm thinking of the coloring books, just something where they have those brain breaks, whether at home or at school. They are embedded into our daily living, and whether that's a child, whether it's an adult, because we the adults need it too. But just incorporating that into a daily routine, maybe setting it up on a timer on your phone or something where is or deciding, okay, at this time every day, maybe as a family, this is what we're going to do. I think it takes away that ooh sigma of it, like, where, people think of like the deep breathing or the meditation, that it has something to do with a religious connection. But really, it's all about just kind of just sitting still and recognizing what you're feeling throughout your body. Wiggling your toes. What are you feeling when you're wiggling your toes? That's a mindfulness activity, and it has absolutely nothing to do with any type of a worship experience at all. And so, just again, incorporating that into something that's happening daily, whether in a classroom or whether at home, it then what happens is when you're doing it when you don't need it, when you're not in a desperate need for it, it becomes so natural that when you are in a state of like panic or just need it, it's so natural that you'll be able to just pull that back. This is what I knew, that this is what calmed me down, or this is what's kept me calm. Let me pull that back and utilize that.
Mm. I was already thinking about what you just, pressed on. Only because I know that, I grew up Christian, grew up in a Catholic household for the most part of my early childhood, teenage years, and then early adulthood. And in New Orleans, they was like, you better go pray about it. You better go and, seek your higher power. Because that's what we do here. And it wasn't until I got to Boston that it was revealed to me that there are different ways for people to tap into a sense of being, inner being for themselves. And that again, being in Boston, that appears to be more, white than it is, folks of color, and even those who are practicing mindfulness contemplative practices, yoga, and more, generally are not necessarily people of color. We're seeing more of it now, but I really am curious, how do you work with families who may be resistant because of some of the same things that you're sharing? They're like, I don't know about all that. That's for them folks who out there in the woods, who barefoot and walking around in the trees. What has been your approach to getting more folks tapped in?
I'm gonna tell you that's a challenge, and that's something. At the start of the school year, we actually did receive a letter from a parent who the email was addressed to the teacher and basically just said, my child, I do not want my child participating in boom, 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 boom. And she didn't mention mindfulness activities. And that's a tough one, especially at this young age. And trying to explain it, she went based on her religious views. And so we've been sensitive to that. The teacher's been sensitive to that. And so what happens is that so you just really don't engage the child directly. That doesn't stop the teacher from saying, I see that you're upset. Here's a breathing buddy, which is a stuffed animal, and you just kind of lay that on your back and you're breathing. So they're watching the stuffed animal go up and down. Well, that child is just not included. Um, if I had the opportunity to talk to parents directly, I would show them. Like sometimes it's just a matter of like really demonstrating what that looks like. And for many of them, they will have to admit that some of those things they already do. Who doesn't take a deep breath? Who doesn't blow out a candle? Whether it's a birthday candle, okay, you don't believe in birthdays, all right, you don't celebrate birthdays. But what about that scented candle that you have in your home? Like, who doesn't, blow those candles out? Who doesn't inhale to smell the flowers? Like, these are all things that you naturally would just do. And it has, again, nothing to do with anything, a particular religion or spiritual practice. Is really just. So I would just make it just a very matter of factly. You're giving me an idea though, because I'm thinking that might be a topic of discussion for the families, but I may have to go. It won't come from me as a supervisor, but I do supervise our social worker. So maybe touching on that, she has a parent workshop coming up next week. We're talking about parental fears, child's tears and parental fears. Is more so about the parental anxiety that comes with it. So she hasn't let me kind of see what she has in store yet, but I may just kind of put the bug in her ear of, can you open up with some type of a deep breathing exercise where it just kind of just to show parents. I'm not sure if that particular parent will be present or not, but maybe just for them to kind of experience, this is what we're doing in the classroom, and it has nothing to do with again, with any type of religious practice.
Yeah, I really appreciate how you talked about being sensitive to the diversity that exists, because we want to honor people's belief systems and where they're coming from. And at the
Right.
same time, I think you brought up a really interesting point about we're putting a spotlight on some natural practices that happen every day and having students be thoughtful about that breathing, and getting how the oxygen is coming into your body and how that's important for regulating your, I don't know if I'm even saying the right, is it the endocrine system? I don't know. I might have to edit this. So if anybody's listening out there, it might not be the endocrine system. I don't know. That was the first thing that came to my mind. But it's true. And like what we know is good and healthy for students, but also recognizing the diverse boundaries that we have. And I say boundaries in a way like our belief systems, right? And so I'm wondering that as a social worker, as a supervisor, what advice would you give to educators or to parents who are finding themselves in a situation where they're like, you know what, I'm not sure. I'd like to know more about this practice. Like you said, maybe I have a misconception or, yeah. So in your experience, how would you recommend for people who are listening here, if they're in that situation, what could they do?
If they're unsure, just ask. Reach out to the counseling department at your school. Reach out to, if your school or the district really pushes for the whole mindfulness practices. You want to reach out to ask questions and be open minded with, listen to understand and not to, just listening to come back, and respond, but you want to understand. So going with a mind that you really want to understand where this is coming from, and then ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. You'll get your answers. But I think oftentimes we have these assumptions. Oftentimes we hear things in the media and on social media and the news, and it is a negative connotation, and most of the times those people that are reporting or talking about it, they have no idea what they picked up on something that someone said, that this is what this is, and they never looked at exploring it for themselves to see if it's true or not. I think there are oftentimes I will, it's something simple as I see a post about, oh, rest in peace, and it's like a celebrity. The first thing I do is I actually go Google it to see if it's true or not, because we've been bamboozled so many times with like, no, that didn't happen. Story comes out that, this wasn't true. And so that's my first thing. I'm always going to just kind of look it up for myself. I want to be able to read it for myself. And so I say for any family, any adult, just find out for yourself. Don't listen to what you've heard someone say, oh, this is what this is. Go look into some things for yourself to see what it's really all about. Coloring is a simple, like, children have been coloring. It's one of the most therapeutic, and I'm not artistic at all, but there's something in just like picking up a crayon or a colored pencil and just coloring things that just is so relaxing, and it just brings down any stress or anxiety that may be going on. And that's not, some uh religious experience. That's just coloring.
Yeah. And I used to always tell my boys when they were little, the beautiful thing about coloring is that you get to be creative with it. So you can make anything, any color you want. You can color in the lines, you could color out of the lines, you can make your own lines. Um, but I did just want to pop back in before I'm sure Craig is going to ask a question and say, it is the endocrine system. I think I just Googled it and it says, because I'm like, wow, this is going to really look bad. Endocrine glands release hormones into the bloodstream. So I'm assuming that's your dopamine, oxytocin, like all the things. So I'm going to stand on that one. And I wanted to bring up, I love how you talked about like really finding reputable sources, right? And so the Adfontes media bias chart, I think, is a good one because, like you said, you want to know the straight up facts. Like, this is what was said, this is what we saw happen. No, like, I think. And then the next level is the experts on the topic making a statement about it. And then you have people who come in and are like, well, here's what I think. And then it just devolves from there into like clickbait that's meant to get you upset. So yeah, like really look and see where am I getting my information from and open up that conversation. So thank you.
Consider the source. Consider the source.
Yep.
Huh. So I am curious, what are some ways that you are filling your own SEL and wellness bucket at this time?
Oh my, Craig. Well, considering, Krista mentioned, I am a newly empty nester. My only child is now away at college. And I've been, I'm going to be honest and transparent. I've not been doing the best for myself. Um, I have tried so I have a balcony off of my bedroom. And what I've been trying to do is just sit out there and do my own breathing. I haven't done it in a couple of weeks. Like, a couple of weeks ago, I went and sat out there and I actually took a nap. I, just kind of laid back and found myself just 30 minutes later, I'm waking up. Like it was a peaceful moment. Um, but work has been like the start of the school year has been so busy that I have not. I'm trying to think of what else I've done. Just even doing things that you enjoy. So you know what? Let me back up. Um, Testing, okay, I think I want to try to make this recipes. So just testing out new recipes. Spending time with I have spent, and even like after I dropped my son off, I think over a span of 2 weeks after, I intentionally went out with different girlfriends. Krista was one of them. Made time to just go out and connect with other moms who were in the same boat as I, whether they're empty nesters or whether it was their first child going away to college. Um, I love music. So for me, it's just that's my normal morning routine anyway. It's just is listening to music. Someone had recommended, my son had sent me a playlist when I returned back after dropping him off. And
Love
I
that.
bawled my eyes out. I bawled my eyes out when he first sent the playlist because it was very thoughtful. He's like, if whenever you're sad, there's a 60% chance that I'm listening to this in this moment. And I bawled my eyes out. But then a wise person said, and because it wasn't slow ballads or anything, it was a upbeat, up tempo music. Someone said, "Hey, go have a dance party to that same playlist." And so I did. I gave myself permission, danced in my room by myself to the playlist. I'm a journaler, so I love like just journaling. So those are ways this weekend coming up, I want to spend some time with my mom and sister. So it's just been ways of either connecting with others. And then I am a natural introvert. So just uh catching up on whatever the latest show is. Call the Midwife. I just got into the new season of Call the Midwife. So just making it a point. So I guess I have been doing something, but I do need to get back into walking, and I have not been doing that.
Yes.
It's interesting though how you started off saying, "Well, I'm not doing so good," but you are. And I think Craig asking that question kind of brought it out, and you've given such great examples of what's possible for us and being thoughtful about it.
Yeah.
This is true. So I was about to beat up on myself. I'm like, I haven't. Yes, I have been.
I think sometimes we feel like we have to do something super lofty, or it has to be some exaggerated affair of like, these are the things I teach and preach about, and I gotta, why am I not doing a thing? So like, I have my aromatherapy candle. So this is one that has all kind of good teak wood and oh, this got ginger in this one. So
Ooh.
rolling and like just having that be a thing, right? Or burning incense. So, I might do a little incense, and that's just my thing. Or I'm gonna take a bubble bath tonight because that's what I love to do. A brother loves some bubbles. I love me some bubbles, whether or not it's in my tub or somebody's jacuzzi. I'm just saying, it is all good. So I would say for folks, yes, it's great if you can exercise, you can meditate, you can pray, like whatever the thing is. But sometimes something simple as, this is my candle for 5 minutes with me and us. We just doing us. And that's great.
That's true. And that's the other thing I do love, Craig, is a good candle. Just lighting that candle. Um, And I was going to say something while you were, talking about that. Right. It doesn't have to be lofty or, people always connect self-care to have to do with like you're spending money, you're going in, and nothing's wrong because I love a pedicure. So there's nothing wrong with a mani or pedi or anything like that. But even just the simpleness and feeling what you feel, that's self-care as well. So we think that we have to escape from the feeling, but being present and feeling what you feel. So if there's an emotion that you're feeling and it's causing you to cry. It's releasing those toxins anyway. Get the tears out. And so that is its own form of self-care. That's its own, mindfulness moment, if you will.
That what to me right there was like a mic drop moment. Like just accept, like instead of pushing things off and like I need to do this, I need to be like let it in. And I was at a yoga retreat a long time ago. Well, it was like 6 years ago. And I think she was talking about something like if you're feeling it, like let it in and let it burn through you. Like use that. Um, and it reminded me of a quote that I took off of Instagram, and I kept it off to the side here. I haven't posted it yet, but it says, instead of asking, have I worked hard enough to deserve a rest? I've started asking, have I rested enough to do my most loving, meaningful work?
I love that.
I've been ruminating on that the last couple days. And I think that that also gives permission for us to take those breaks so that we can come back as our best selves, especially when
Yes.
you're wrangling 2-year-olds off of a bus.
Yes. On a regular basis. Just the buses, their little legs can't even like get up those stairs on their own. So it's like, helping them up. They're or helping them down and step down because they want to jump from the bottom step to the sidewalk. And I'm like, no, step down. So yes.
Well, there's a greater question that you may have heard us ask time and time again to our guests, but I'm going to ask you as well.
Okay.
So what do you consider to be your superpower?
Ooh, I have to think about that one. My superpower. Is it bad if I think I have more than one?
Like, go for it.
I could name
Take a
several
wheel.
for you, so I'm just waiting. Yeah.
I do believe that my calming presence in the middle of any type of a crisis situation, I think I'm able to just bring it all down. So I can walk into a crisis and I'm able to, whether it's my tone of voice, I think sometimes even just me walking in and kind of walking into the presence. And I've heard this from others that you bring this calm, this sense of calm when you enter a presence. So I would say that my ability to read a room and pick up on I pick up on it all, facial expressions, body language. I ask those tough questions. Um, I will clearly ask. I'll look and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And staff members, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "But your facial expression isn't telling me that you're okay." And usually, then in that moment, it's a breakdown of, well, this and this and this. Um, so, and then my not that I'm a comedian because I'm not, but I can find humor in a lot of situations. And I love that about myself as well. Krista, did I touch on anything
You
that you were
did.
going to
You said
say?
what I was going to say. And those are just some of the pieces that I really love and admire about you too, that you are willing to lean in and like have the hard conversations and share with people just to benefit everybody in the community. Um, and you do tap in, like people just feel connected to like tell you things because they know you're a trustworthy person. And it is funny. I was going to say, you're funny as hell. So I'm so happy that you said that because I am always laughing when we're together. We have a good time. And I appreciate like the laughter, the fun, the different perspectives of things. So yeah, nailed it.
All right.
So I will ask, I'm seeing Craig's eyeballs here. I know if people want to reach out to you and they're like, you know what, I'm a social worker too, and I want to move into administration, or I'm also working with the 2-year-olds, the 3-year-olds, the 4-year-olds, and I'd like to connect. How could people get a hold of you, Jamillah?
So through my email or through Twitter. My other two social media accounts are much more on a private uh, uh, side for me, but definitely Twitter at Jamillah_Parker. And then my email address is my first name, JAMILLAH at, wait, JAMILLAH.Parker, MSW@gmail.com.
Thank you so much. We will have all of that information posted in the episode resource section of the podcast. Thank you.
Well, for everybody who's like, well, it's got to be all about the educators and all. Yeah. What makes you think that Jamillah is not an educator? Just doing the doggone thing, showing up and showing out for so many folks, whether or not you are a parent, whether or not you are a school leader, whether or not you are a clinician, whether or not you are a community partner, whether or not you are a boss, entrepreneur, another mom, auntie, like out here doing the thing. And we're so honored that we have had this time and space with you. And we know folks better, like y'all better hear me. Like y'all need to get all of this, get all of it. It's like butter on a good cookie, like real, whoo, I feel like it just salivating in the back of my throat. I'm like, oh, get it all, get it all. It's about you. All right. This is self-care. Listening to SEL and EDU podcast is self-care. So we absolutely love and adore you. Jamillah, thank you so much for joining us. And we know that you are not just going to be a one-time, panelist. You're going to come back because I got a feeling you just got so much more to give. So for all of us in the SEL and EDU world, I just want to continue to challenge you to hold yourself and all you hold dear real tight and continue to give yourself and the world great life. We love you. Y'all take care.